Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 80, and today I want to go over another aspect of the chapter that has seemingly got a ton of people pissed off, which just happens to be something that comes as a result of Sarada awakening her Mangekyou Sharingan, which is the fact that Sasuke is now working to keep Boruto from being captured by the Anbu Black Ops of Konoha and the Five Nations. There are a lot of people from what I've seen who are upset that Sasuke blindly trusted in Sarada and that Sarada was the whole reason he gave Boruto a second chance. Essentially, these are people who are on Momoshiki's side, saying that this makes no logical sense for Sasuke to trust in his daughter so blindly, because they say for someone as logical and analytical as Sasuke is completely out of character. So in today's video, I want to push back on that notion because I vehemently disagree with it, and a big part of the reason why I disagree actually goes back to the Naruto manga itself, and it links back to Boruto's manga in a way to where it actually builds on some of the themes that Boruto's manga has, and most importantly, it highlights a growth for Sasuke's character that I believe anyone dogging out Sasuke trusting in his daughter so easily is strongly overlooking, especially when we take in Boruto's manga's theme of breaking free of familiar bonds and expectations and breaking free of the chains of the past, which is basically what Sasuke did here. So why do I feel so strongly that this should not be the case? I won't recap what I said in the video going over Sarada's Mangekyou Sharingan powers, where I went over how the Kushina Hime myth with Susanoo and Kushina Hime mirrors the multiple elements of Sarada's Mangekyou Sharingan awakening, but I will say that that is indeed part of the reason I feel as strong as I do, because Sasuke in a indirect way played a role in both of the parents of Kushina Hime, as well as playing the role of Susanoo, who did as Kushina Hime asked, which is to handle the crisis that brought her so much despair. Obviously, Sasuke isn't marrying his daughter, since Susanoo does marry Kushina Hime, but he still fulfills Sarada's request to protect Boruto from those who are hunting him, the very same way that Susanoo handled the monster that terrorized Kushina Hime and their loved ones. However, when we go even deeper here, there's something that actually comes from Naruto's manga that makes me want to take this story's side in Sasuke's situation. To understand why, we have to go back to Naruto's manga and look at Sasuke's original trauma in the series, the Lucia Massacre. When this took place, Sasuke had no idea of what was truly happening. All that he knew was that he returned home from training to see the dead bodies of his fellow clan members all across the streets and in their rooms, inside of their houses, and when he returned home, he saw his brother standing over the dead bodies of his parents, and he was told by his brother, the much beloved prodigy of the clan, that he killed their clan and their parents. This led to Sasuke eventually giving into his emotions and awakening his one Tomo Sharingan and briefly trying to attack Itachi. However, as often is the case in Naruto, there's a hidden meaning to the things that Sasuke saw. In fact, there were several hidden meanings here. Sasuke spent the next 7 years of his life thinking that his brother had just gone psycho and killed everyone in their clan, including their parents, just because he wanted to test out his limits. He believed his brother to have committed the highest form of dishonor to the Uchiha clan by being a clan killer. He saw with his own eyes that his brother was a member of a group of rogue S-rank criminals called the Akatsuki. In his eyes, his brother had fallen so low that he needed to kill him in order to restore the honor of the Uchiha clan by getting rid of the dishonor that Itachi brought to the clan by killing him, essentially by avenging the clan itself. Yet Sasuke eventually learned the phrase, "A ninja must learn to see through deception," wasn't just about shinobi seeing through trickery for their opponent's ninjutsu, but rather it was the very things that the shinobi system led to him believing were actually reality. He learned his brother killed the clan on the orders of the third Hokage's advisor Danzo, and that Konoha knew the truth the entire time. Sasuke learned firsthand what it's like to be caught up in a life where you're living a lie and to be consumed by the hatred because of that lie. And this brings me back to Sarada. When Sasuke and Itachi said their goodbye in the war, everyone remembers that iconic line in the speech where Itachi says no matter what decisions that Sasuke makes from here on out, he'll always love him, after he grabs Sasuke's head, bringing their foreheads together, and eventually Itachi returns to Pure Land. However, there's another line in that same chapter that Sasuke remembered, but a lot of fans who are complaining about Sasuke and Sarada's interaction have completely forgotten. Itachi directly told Sasuke that now, after having lived the lifetime that he did, he knows that there are things he could have done different if he chose another path, if only he would have talked to Sasuke that he knows that Sasuke could have changed their parents and thus could have changed the Uchiha clan's plans for a coup d'etat. Whereas Itachi didn't trust in Sasuke and he lived in the moment and tried to handle everything himself, Sasuke learned from the mistake that Itachi made, and it was Sarada's tears in her Mangekyou Sharingan awakening that made him realize he was about to make the same mistake that his brother did, trying to take everything upon himself to handle the problem before him and not see the other option that he had as well. Just as Itachi didn't trust in Sasuke's strength back then, which it wasn't literal strength, but the strength of his character and the strength of his innocence being a key to sway their parents back onto the right path and to use that to call off the coup d'etat. Sasuke multiple times told Sarada to return home in this chapter, not trusting in her strength, just as Itachi didn't trust in Sasuke's strength. By listening to her, by trusting in her, by believing in her as her Sharingan eye reflected the emotions of her heart, Sasuke learned from a mistake that Itachi did all those years ago, which makes this very poetic in terms of a turn of events for Sasuke when we view it through this lens. Yes, he's in the shadows protecting his village from afar, just as his older brother did. However, the difference in the main part of Sasuke's redemption and a big part of his battle with Naruto was the fact that Sasuke had to learn that he didn't have to shoulder the weight alone, which is also something that Sasuke's Otsutsuki counterpart, Indra Otsutsuki, failed to realize. Indra walked that path to darkness on his own, whereas Ashura understood it was okay to lean on others. Just as Itachi shouldered the weight of the village on his own via the massacre, Sasuke was about to shoulder the weight of the entire ninja world on his shoulders before Naruto stopped him, and that's one of the byproducts of them breaking that cycle of hatred. It's literally the same thing that we see here with Sarada. She stopped him from shouldering a weight that wasn't even his own to carry in the first place because he'd been tricked by the Shinjutsu. As much as we've seen Sasuke and Boruto, where Boruto's been compared to Sasuke by people, it's important to remember that as far back as Naruto Gaiden, which came out 8 years ago, the comparisons between Naruto and Sarada, they existed for a reason. While they're different characters, there are overlapping elements that Boruto's manga has continued to build on. Here's the thing. Had Sasuke ignored his daughter, that would have been a true regression of his character, because it literally spits in the face of what we saw in the forms of the lessons that he learned from Itachi's mistakes and the beatdown that Naruto gave to Sasuke to make him see reason. What we're seeing here is how Sasuke in the light novels more than once asked himself if he ever lost Naruto, the man who pulled him out of the darkness, or if he ever lost his family, could he stop himself from regressing backwards, doing things alone, and ultimately becoming a tyrant. He wondered if he could stand on his own 2 feet without Naruto, and it was something that he was striving to do. What we're seeing here now is that while Naruto might be gone from his life, he still has his daughter there, and his daughter is now another anchor for him to keep him from floating off into that black sea of darkness that he'd been previously worried about drowning in. We know based off of scenes that Boruto's anime didn't adapt for whatever reasons when they adapted the Naruto Parent and Child A novel and parts of the 3 Naruto Retsuden novels that were horribly crammed into the Sasuke Retsuden anime adaptation. But we know that Sasuke and Sarada, that connection runs extremely deeper than you realize if you've only watched the anime, which is a big part of the reason why I cover the novels here on my channel. It's more than it's just his daughter. The whole reason he froze to kill Shin Uchiha was because he heard his daughter crying out to him right before he would have delivered that final blow. In the Naruto Parent and Child A novel, in a scene the anime cut, while Sarada is asleep, Sasuke acknowledges that he's well aware of how Sarada views him and implies that he's not sure if he'd be able to live up to the expectations of who she believes that Sasuke is to be because of all the things he's done in the past. And he's well aware that Sarada adores him, but he doesn't think he can live up to it despite everything that Sakura tells him otherwise. In the Naruto Retsuden novel, we know that Sasuke has begun taking his daughter to the Uchiha Memorial that Naruto had built during the Boruto era. Sarada is that rock for him, or to use the expression that Naruto did in the war when he spoke to the Raikage, Sarada is the other son for Sasuke. Naruto was the first son who pulled him out of the darkness, but now that son has been blocked off by Kawaki. But Sasuke's second son is in the form of his wife and his daughter. That's another reason it's poetic predict that Sarada's Mangekyou Sharingan pattern is actually that of a son, because she's literally a son for her father, who has the power of Amaterasu, who is the sun goddess. And if you really want to go deep into it, you can even go over to Hindu. There's a goddess whose name is spelled very close to how Sarada's name is spelled. I get some people wanted the super dramatic awakening for Sarada, and by extension they wanted to have some 400 IQ moment where Sasuke figures out all the truth on his own. But what we got here, it isn't bad writing, and we still had Sasuke realize that things were wrong by sensing Momoshiki, and seeing his headband, Sasuke knew, wait a second, this ain't right. Having him trust in his daughter shows a sign of him learning from the mistakes of Itachi and the ones that he made in the past, and I thought that this was a brilliant way to show it, because only Sarada could be used in that moment to actually have this done. Boruto crying to his sensei while he charges up his Chidori, it doesn't do the same thing, because in Sasuke's mind, Boruto isn't who Boruto actually says he is, but in his mind, Sarada is currently still his daughter. She could be used to show that same lesson that Itachi failed. It had to be a relative in order for it to work. Maybe I caught on to this as quickly as I did because Itachi and Sasuke are literally two of my favorite characters, along with Kakashi. If you ask me on any given day who my favorite character is, it's going to change between those three characters. But I did think that this was a brilliant setup here. Anyway, I'm curious to know how you guys feel about this. While you think that over, click here to check out my Chainsaw Man Chapter 128 review.